I don't know. Like, I think you had started to talk about what you were looking forward to, and I know we talked about gaming, but is there anything else?
Uh, I mean, aside from the obvious, COVID spike going in reverse and away, so I can at least go out and see my movies again. Um, Honestly, for me, like just all the Marvel stuff has just got me hooked for this year. Um, it's like ever since the investment presentation they did back in, was it December or November? It was one of those months. It
Yeah.
was something like that. But like when they did like all the announcements of the stuff that they were doing, it was just like, dude, like this, it's so much, it's still so much to unpack. And it's like I have a lot to look forward to. And Cassio did bring it up like briefly. Because I think we're about to go into episode 5 of WandaVision, which has been really good. And I love the show so far. I just find it funny how folks are like really complaining about like it being slow and stuff in the beginning or whatever. It's like, dude, it's a TV show. Like you're not going to get everything on the first 2 episodes.
Like it's supposed to build up. Like, it's like I don't know. That's how we used to watch TV back in the day when you didn't have Netflix to binge the whole series. And
that's what I'm saying. It's like
2 days.
Like binge watching got people spoiled is what I think right now. So it's
right. Definitely.
So, but I'm thoroughly enjoying what they're doing with that right now because there's been like a lot of little nuances and callbacks to stuff that we're familiar with, and for folks that are familiar with the comic book lore, like they have at least some idea where this is going, and they're doing a really good job with it. And we still have more to look forward to later on because I think we got like 3 more series this year I think we're looking forward to, because after that you got Falcon and Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, and I think Ms. Marvel is later this year if I recall. So you got that, and then plus we got 3 movies this year. We got Black Widow, Eternals, and Spider-Man this year. Right. It's like, dude. So it's gonna be crazy. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the Star Wars stuff too, because we're getting Book of Boba Fett at the end of the year.
I finished The Mandalorian. So
did you finish?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How did that last episode do you?
Listen, I legit kind of screamed a little bit when the fighter landed on the larger ship, and I was like, because I have to admit, those droids, those
Dark Troopers,
those Dark Troopers were creepy, and I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? And when they came back from being flushed out, you know what I'm saying, out there or whatever, I was like, oh shit. And when the fighter landed on the larger ship, and the person walked in, and I was like, I have to admit, I saw when he did that, when he turned on his green saber, it didn't click in my head who it was yet, because I was like, well, it's a green saber. I'm not sure if I'm not super well versed in Star Wars to know if certain sabers always belong to certain Jedi. You know what I'm saying? I know there are some that have unmistakable colors, but I wasn't sure if, you know what I'm saying, if some sabers, because I don't know if green is like a universal saber. You know what I'm saying? Saber color.
Yeah, it's basically how it was is that Luke was essentially the first person with a green saber since the Old Republic. So pretty much like up to that point, basically Jedi's either had green or blue during that time, but after Order 66, really wasn't too many people around. Obi-Wan still had his blue one, and at some point, Luke was able to make his own. His was green, and he was the one that kind of had that one, like it, because that's where the Mandalorian takes place. It takes place, I think, maybe like a year or 2 after Return of the Jedi. I might be wrong, but I know it takes place a few years after that, which also coincides with the timeline of Star Wars Rebels animated series, which they referenced this season. So it's like,
So I was watching him come through, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like, who is it? Like, who is it?" And then when he put up his hand, and he was like, he like squeezed one with his hand with the force, and I saw the black glove versus his regular hand. I was like,
right,
oh,
you knew who it was, right?
I was like, "Oh shit, it's Luke!" And I legit like screamed, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Well, wait." Because obviously, I know they had to do CGI, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, please don't let it be like Gemini Man at the end. Okay? Because that CGI was fucking terrible at the end of that movie. So then
at the end, yeah. Like it's like everything
the movie it was pretty good, but at the end it's like they just all went on a coffee break and left,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and did whatever. Like I hated
they ran out of budget at the end of that movie for some reason. I don't know what happened.
I'm telling you, when he took his hood off, and I was just like, and obviously it sounds like they used Mark Hamill's actual voice to voice.
They did. It was
yeah,
actually
so
Mark doing
I was
it. So
sitting there and I was like, oh my god, like I just was like sitting there like a kid because I was like, oh my god, but then it made me wonder, okay. So I have to admit, so now it makes me want to watch the Clone Wars. I had watched the Clone Wars like briefly when the Clone Wars had first like debuted, like however long it's been on, but then I stopped because there's a lot of freaking episodes and I kind of lost interest in whatever.
It is what I will give you forewarning because this was something I didn't know the first time I watched it. And I forget what number the last season is. I forget whether it's like 6 or because like the last season is basically like the only one that's basically like in order chronologically. The rest of the season's not so much.
Okay.
So it's like you'll have episodes that they'll do in specifically like in certain seasons, but sometimes they take place at different times. So your best bet is to get like a chronological list of what the episodes are before you start. And then of course you get into the last season, which was, I think it ended really, really well. And I thought it was really interesting how they ended it
so it made me wonder. Yeah. So it made me wonder. So obviously we all know, that the Mandalorian does take place after the end of the first, the original trilogy of the movie.
Yes.
So, but then it made me wonder, okay, so where is baby Grogu? Like Skywalker takes him, right, to teach him, to raise him up and teach him how to use the Force and things like that. So it makes me wonder throughout the rest of the Star Wars universe, does Grogu show up somewhere? Because obviously he didn't make an appearance in any other of the movies.
He could, because obviously up to this point
he had him clearly a lot of this time. So it makes me wonder what happened. It just had me wondering, well, what happened to him? You know what I'm saying? Because Luke got him when he was still young and all of that and everything. So it just makes me wonder, where is Grogu now? So my brain just started thinking of, well, if it took place this long ago and Luke kind of took him and was raising him and blah, 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 obviously.
Everybody's thinking that.
Yeah.
Everybody is thinking
none of the movies he was in, you know what I'm saying? Was he part of, for anybody who watched the last 3 Star Wars movies, one of the reasons that Luke stopped was because of what happened with Kylo, and whatever. But Luke was trying to find children that had the Force and try to raise, new Jedi users. But what happened with Kylo, he kind of stopped. So it's like, was Grogu in there? You know what I'm saying? Somewhere.
Good question.
It made me wonder where is he? Like, what happened to him? So
that's a good question. That's a good question. That might be one of those things that they address in the 3rd season. So, because I know they said there was rumors that they might address how they went about hiding Grogu all this time. So as far as that goes, they might see that. I know it's been like some rumbling saying that they are going to try to retcon the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. I don't know if that's going to happen. I highly doubt it, but it would be interesting if that's what they decide to do. So, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things where we kind of have to just wait it out and see, because it's like a lot of people have been in basically major agreement that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is probably the best thing to happen to Star Wars right now because of those shows. So it's You know, it's like no one really knew where the Mandalorian was going to go from the first season. The first season just left such a great impression. And then with the second season, it's like even it took everybody's fear of what the show might do and flipped it on everybody and showed that it could still work. Because it's like, because I remember like a lot of people's fears, like after the first season ended, it's like, dude, it's like, I don't know if like they gonna start tying it into like the main movies and all that stuff or whatever the case may be, but they proven that like when you have competent people that could do the job and orchestrate the story correctly, they can still do that and it worked. And season 2 wound up being phenomenal because of it. So and
so I'll stop there because Cassio said that he hadn't seen it yet. He hadn't finished it yet, so I don't want to keep him off the podcast too long. But you know what I'm saying? I didn't know when we started talking, I didn't know that he hadn't like finished it yet, so I don't keep him off too long. But so I will.
Well, luckily we didn't spoil too much, I don't think. So we just
I was very, very impressed with the Mandalorian. I was very, very, pleased to see Boba Fett. He put the armor back on again. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And so now, we have another season that's gonna like follow his journey, which I'm sure has been an interesting, journey and whatever. But I agree with you. They did an amazing job, and so obviously with me being a little late to watch it, a lot of shit got spoiled. You know what I'm saying? So I knew who was playing Ahsoka because everybody and their mama was on it. I didn't know. I tried to make sure I didn't see too many endings about the end of The Mandalorian. So I didn't know that Luke had come back, but I knew it was a legendary Jedi that we all know. But that could be anybody. You know what I'm saying? And whatever.
It could have been.
I'm still hoping Mace Windu survived the fall and, just got like a busted up leg or something and comes out, you know what I'm saying, in some episode somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I
just wanted to throw that in there that I had finished it. Let me let Cassio know he can rejoin the podcast or whatever. So just going off of what you said about Disney or Marvel, I'm sorry. You guys already know where I kind of stand on that one. I have movie fatigue. A little bit like superhero movie fatigue, except for I am looking. Oh, I'm sorry. We this Black History Month. Let me throw out a little Black History. Let me debunk what some people out there believe is Black History fact. Blade did not give birth to the MCU. Let's stop it. That's my opinion.
What happened?
People believe that Blade gave birth to the MCU.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like it was the starting point of people taking comic book movies seriously.
I don't even think it was. I don't even think. No.
At that point, that was because the thing is, the first Blade was what they would consider a sleeper hit.
Yeah, I agree.
Because again, like the way they did that movie, they didn't approach it like a comic book movie, even though it was.
Right.
So that was one of the things that helped it. So like when Blade came along, it was like, oh, what is this? Oh, this is based off a comic book? What? Or whatever. Right. And so that's kind of what helped start it, because up to that point, we had a lot of duds when it came to comic book related films. Because Blade was what, 99? Up to that point.
Well, let's say on the Marvel side, because DC had like Batman out, and Batman was big hits. So on the
but the last movie that came out at the time was Batman and Robin.
Well, Batman and Robin wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as bad as oh shoot. Now you go have me go to my phone and look at the thing. But what I was trying to say is that
let's kick some ice.
Huh?
Let's kick some ice.
Oh, from
that wasn't that bad.
Wait a minute. Wait. Because you had when I say so one, my brain is talking about the Michael Keaton Batmans. Okay, not the Batman. I don't even count the George Clooney Batman. You can get that shit out of here. Okay, I don't count that. I refuse.
That was still their last one that they made.
I know. And you also have the Superman movies that did good from like Christopher Reeve. I mean, yeah, they were real old, and we hadn't had one since then, but they still kind of held up. And then you had Smallville that was successful on the small screen, stuff like that. So what I mean, so I agree with you definitely with the fact that it was definitely not marketed as a comic book movie. And yes, Marvel owned the character of Blade from the comics, but it was not a Marvel, like Marvel didn't make the movie. They're the name behind the character and all that. It was not made by Marvel. You know what I'm saying? It was made, I think it was made by New Line Cinema. I think all of them made by New Line Cinema.
Which ironically that kind of makes Blade a Warner Brothers movie, which is kind of ironic.
So it was an entity owned by Warner. Ironically, you're right. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important for us to dispel, because like Black people, we want to make Blade the movie that launched the MCU. It was not the Blade movie.
No,
it was
like
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. That's what kind of launched more Marvel movies. It didn't even launch I don't even think it launched the MCU, because MCU is connected universe. And Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies are not even MCU movies. So
not at all.
Yeah, so Iron Man would be the one that launched the MCU, right?
Yes, it was because
MCU.
And this was before Marvel Studios even existed. And then that was what was interesting, because like those movies, with the exception of Incredible Hulk, all were done under Paramount at that point. And it was like, okay, like, and then Kevin Feige, again, like he pitched the idea, got it up and running, and it was like an experiment that just went so right, which was cool. But it's just like, and it's like we're affirming Blade didn't kick off the MCU, so we have to stop that. The thing is, what we also need to stop doing is saying that he was also the first Black superhero in movies. He was not. Meteor Man was. You have to get that right. As much it's like, look, the thing is, in hindsight, looking back on that movie, that was still a one of a kind movie, because that would be one of our first Black ensemble superhero movies.
Yes, like complete. Yes. So, a couple of white people here and there, but it was literally mostly all Black cast. Good guys and bad.
Yeah, man. Don't get me started on Media Man. That's my jam right there.
That's still my jam. I love that movie still to this day.
Man is my joint. Are you serious?
Bill Cosby had Green Rock. He was like,
he was out there
with them things. Like, they got the damn books and stuff, tossing them books, and they like learn kung fu.
You realize how dope of a power that would be if you could touch a book and absorb anything in that book.
30 seconds, dude. You know how many tests I would have passed with that power?
My God.
Okay, so I know I kind of chimed in real quick, because I ain't trying to start a nerd debate or nothing like that, but so you saying Blade did not start the MCU? No, but he didn't start the MCU, but
that's what we're talking about.
Basically, basically you saying like Blade didn't bring back because I feel like the accolade that Blade should receive is that like it was the superhero movie that really put in the forefront that superhero movies can be created and made good and make money.
Yeah, I addressed that. I was saying that Blade was basically responsible for making comic book movies being taken more seriously.
Okay.
And because up to that point, everybody just thought it was just supposed to be just like this funny, campy, romp of films, and it's just like, but it was like Blade came along, and it's like, again, they went smart about it and didn't market it like a comic book movie. So that was one of the things that helped it, even though the following year we had X-Men, which was also probably even more successful. But but even still, like, people started giving comic book movies a second look, which is why since then we've had one after another, after another, after another, after another, good or bad, we kept getting them. So
we were discussing dispelling what some people want to make a Black history fact that is not really a fact, because we were just talking about how Blade didn't launch the MCU. He is not responsible for launching the MCU. But going back to what you said, because he's not the whole point of the MCU is Marvel Connected Universe. It's movies that intertwine and interact and
Right, of course.
So if that's the case, you can't count him because he's not connected anywhere at all in the universe. Right. And again, we were talking about he wasn't even, this was before, I think even Marvel even had a movie studio. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it was like they were actually
not a Marvel studio film. Yeah, it's a new line. So we were talking about that because I was trying to get to that. I have like comic book movie fatigue, even though yes, I still watch Wonder Woman and I still watch the third one comes out. Whenever they decide they want to release it, I'm gonna watch it too because Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman. But I think out of all of the Marvel movies that got announced, honestly, the only one I'm really looking forward to is two. I'm looking forward to Blade because I'm looking forward to that and the Asian one. I am so terrible.
Oh, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to
myself.
I'm actually looking. I'm definitely looking forward to Shang-Chi when that comes out. Like because it's just on the simple fact that it's just like okay, this is going to essentially be like they're basically dipping their toe in making a straight up martial arts film.
So and a superhero martial arts film at that.
Right. So it's just like I'm definitely looking forward to that. And it'd be interesting to see like if we might see some references to Immortal Iron Fist at some point or whatever. It'd be interesting to see if we get that. Like for that too.
Because I'm pretty sure they wanna because as we all know, Iron Fist was not it. Okay. Iron Fist was not.
Like I said, I give it credit for the second season because it was much better. The second season was much better. I will give it credit there.
Man,
I don't even bother. Do you understand me?
I didn't even bother. He's a Kung Lun, like he said it like 8,000 times.
Dude,
I didn't even bother.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big fan of the Iron Fist character. How he was written in the first season was atrocious. And I hate it. Like it's like the show didn't like the first season of that didn't pick up until like episode 6.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
And it was just like I'm more patient than others. So it's like up to that point, I could see why somebody would watch the show and then tap out halfway through it. Yeah. I understand that. Like I saw the problems with it early on, but like once it kind of gets up and going a little bit, it gets a little better. But the writing on that first season was bad, but the common denominator is it's the same showrunner who brought the Inhumans along, which was probably worse than Iron Fist. So maybe so. The gentleman's name is Scott Buck.
I think I watched the first episode of Iron Fist and I was like, yeah, nah, this ain't for me.
It was the thing is for something like Iron Fist, like that show was way too slow. Like that was
yes.
It was like, way too slow.
Obviously, with me being the one that doesn't read comic books, or on the panel, so a lot of you guys have a lot of history and backstory and things like that I don't necessarily have because I'm not a big comic book reader. But I obviously I've been watching comic book movies since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I know most characters in both. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of characters in both DC and Marvel, and I know the basics to get back. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
Exactly. And then some things.
So when you see
well, are you able? Do you think you'd be able to follow the shows then? Like if you're going to take a break from like the movies, like the shows, the upcoming Marvel shows.
So I am looking forward to Hawkeye because I like Hawkeye. I am looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier because I think we talked about this before. It kind of looks like a buddy cop superhero movie to me that I'm kind of looking forward to. And I like Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie as actors. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Because I think we've mentioned this before, but Winter Soldier is still my #1 Marvel movie. I just think,
as is a lot of people.
Yeah, Winter Soldier. I mean, like Sebastian Stan was just really great as the Winter Soldier. He kind of sold me on it, so I'm in. You know what I'm saying, for that ride or whatever. So I mean, there's those two that I'm looking forward to. I have to admit, I don't really have any interest in WandaVision, not because I just don't like. I don't know. Like
it doesn't get you excited. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't grab me. Like, and I mean, even in the movies, like even watching them in the movies, I'm like, okay, so she's in love with basically an AI. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's an AI with
self-aware,
super advanced AI. Mm-hmm. But it ain't like she gonna get any kids out of him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's not a bad thing. You're right. That's not a bad thing. So let me keep going because you're right, Cassio. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But it's just like, I don't know. I was kind of unimpressed with Vision in the movies, like with him being this superior AI. I thought he was gonna do more. You know what I'm saying? I just thought he was gonna be more. And then we all know that Wanda was nerfed in the movies. I mean, anybody who watches it, I mean, because there was a couple of times she was able to go toe to toe with Thanos. You know what I'm saying? On her own. You know what I'm saying? She was pissed and whatever. But she was able to hold Thanos off with one hand while taking one of the stones out of Vision's head. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then another time,
that's still pretty top tier though. Like the thing is,
that's what I'm saying. Like, but it was like, but then she got whooped by his minions. Like, I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not really. I wouldn't say that like that. But the thing is,
America and Widow saved Wanda and Vision. Like, I didn't
see. But here's the interesting thing with that.
So
is the fact that
behind the show because the characters, I'm like,
But this is the thing that I found interesting about her. Like, and this is before the show. Now, of course, during that whole thing, like, I found it interesting that obviously the smart thing to do was to take out the heavy hitters. And obviously at the time, the heaviest hitters they had were Vision and Wanda. So the thing is with Vision kind of being the main target because he had the Mind Stone, it's like, okay, go take his ass out first. Right. And the thing is with but the thing is with Wanda, the thing is, I just thought it was interesting that she was holding her own against both of them while also saving Vision's ass. And it was like, damn, like she actually putting in work right now. So it's like with that in mind, that's what kind of make like it. I kind of always been intrigued by Wanda, especially since after Age of Ultron and of course Civil War. Like I've always been like just trying to see what they do. Because again, now what also makes it interesting is because, okay, she's warping reality, so we're getting some shades of comic book story for all you comic book readers, House of M, which if you're familiar with that, you know how bananas that was. And also because on the business side, we remember that Disney acquired a little movie studio a couple years back called 20th Century Fox, which allows them to now use.
They don't like the whole world. They're like, they're like the empire. Disney is the empire. In case y'all want to know.
For now, we'll see.
Star Wars is Disney.
But again, because of that, we could see and possibly see references to X-Men or Fantastic Four in this show. Maybe somewhere. Not sure, but we as longtime viewers of the MCU up to this point, whatever, they love planting those little Easter eggs. So it's like again, because like they've been rumors that Quicksilver might pop back up. There's already been rumors that Doctor Strange might pop up in the show. We don't know because we know this directly ties into Doctor Strange film when that comes out like in a couple years. So it's like, or no, is it next year? No, it's next year. It's 2022, I think. But it's just like little things like that is what got me invested in the series because again, it's like kind of having that prior knowledge of the lore and knowing that this is basically the stage of her powers evolving. So it's like this show could go like 100 different ways by the time it ends. Like we don't know where it's going to go.
And I think that's the difference between like you guys who are comic book readers and me that's not, because for somebody like me that's not, I feel like I have to kind of want to see, like, I either have to like a character to be invested enough to watch something about them, because like there could be some things that be some things that happen, and I'm just like, you know, I wasn't really impressed with this person. Like, I never saw the Ant-Man series. I have to admit, I don't care about Ant-Man. Like, I have no interest in Ant-Man, like, at all. And I understand, you know, I watched the final Avengers movie, so I understand the role he played and all, you know, and all of that. But
not to like Ant-Man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like Thor. Like, I think he's boring as hell. I don't like Thor, and I've never seen Dark World.
Well, with you being bored, with you thinking he was a boring character, that's why they went the way that they went with Ragnarok. Because he started becoming a stale character.
Listen, and you know what's so crazy, and that's the odd thing, right? Because obviously Thor's a hero and whatever, and I do have read like some excerpts and stuff of Thor, like from comic panels, because I do sometimes will go online and do research and learn about characters, and comic panels will be up and I'll read. And Thor was definitely supposed to be something that was way different. So I have to admit, that was one thing. I don't like that they made him lightweight, the comic relief. I didn't like that at all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. Mm-hmm. So and his movies, the first one wasn't bad, but listen, you ain't missing nothing by not watching Thor's Dark World. You ain't missing nothing.
Not really.
I keep hearing it's like one of the worst MCU films.
It was terrible.
Put it this way. Put it this way.
Look, I can't even tell you what happened. I can't even tell you what happened besides some ancient material got into his girlfriend and they had to suck it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I think the way they approached it was just like kind of weird, because it's just like, okay, Loki was cool in the movie, and there was like a minor villain that was in there that was actually more interesting than the main villain, which, find that ironic or whatever. But the thing is that movie was the reason why they had to basically just do a complete shift, a tonal shift, when they made the third one, because he started becoming a really stale character. And it was like, because like, again, the first movie, it was cool because he was a straight man, but he was also a fish out of water, and that dynamic kind of made it work. But and whatever happened with the second movie, it just didn't really gel as much. To whereas Loki, I think, probably outshined him in the second movie at every turn.
In all honesty, Loki outshined Thor a lot. Loki even outshined, to me, he also even outshined. And I am so sorry. Please remind me. Which movie was it the second or the third where their mother died?
The second.
Was it the second?
It was
definitely because you saw a lot of emotional and a lot of growth from Loki's character that you did not get from Thor, like
in all. That part, yeah, because like it's like I think I kind of sort of get it what they were trying to do, because the first movie was essentially Thor's growth movie, and then the second one, I guess, was more so Loki's, but at the end of the day, it kind of just. They kind of just let their character development kind of fall at the wayside. Like, even with that being said, I don't think it was a horrible movie, but it's definitely a movie you could skip if you wanted to.
Yeah, cool.
Like, worry about.
Like it's a movie you could skip if you wanted to, but I don't think it was a horrible movie.
Bring myself to do.
So it's just, so there were just some movies that I just like. I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy, thought it was horrible, didn't watch the second. I don't got no desire to see this thing.
You really didn't enjoy the first one at all.
I did not like it. I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I'm watching Peter.
It was such a fun movie, though.
Like, I like the raccoon or whatever. I like the right. I don't even care about the names. Like, I'm like the raccoon. You know what I'm saying? I actually like Groot. I actually like Groot. But I'm looking at the rest of them, and I'm just like. So I didn't even bother watching the second. Didn't bother with it. So it's like,
I mean, the second one is significantly. I'm not gonna say no. It's not actually like better. It is better. The second movie, I think, is actually better.
It's a little better. It's a little. It's better, but not by a whole lot. It's still an entertaining movie.
And that lets me know I need to watch it, because I need it to be a whole lot better.
Well, it kind of helps you to understand where the characters are, like, more or less, like, or whatever, because chronologically, it takes place right after the first one. So, but it's interesting what they do in the second one. But it's like it's one of those things where I understand where, like, if it's something that's not really grabbing you, whatever, and it is what it is. Like sometimes some stuff grabs you, some stuff it don't. Me being a Marvel nut,
like for a non-comic reader like myself, I need something to grab me for me to watch it, because like you guys didn't have a lot of background.
I mean, the soundtrack in the first movie was dope though.
So I mean, so there was that. So it's like I need something to grab me to be able for me to sit through and I mean, we're what this is Marvel's what is this phase? What phase is this? What phase
4.
is this?
We're in phase 4 now. Like essentially WandaVision is kicking off phase 4.
Phases we got? You know what I'm saying?
As many as they want.
I mean, they got material.
That's as many as they want. Like that's what it is. It's like phase 1. Basically, put it this way: phase 1 through 3 was the Infinity Saga. All of that was the Infinity Saga.
It was one saga.
So now we're kicking off like a whole brand new one, which we don't know yet. But the way it's going, it looks like it might be the Secret Wars saga. So
what I'm hoping, I'm gonna do hopefully what I did with the Infinity Saga, which is watch certain things to get the gist to make it to the end. Because I'm telling you, I'm not watching all this. I'm telling you right now, I can't.
No, because that's fair. Honestly, I completely understand what you mean by superhero fatigue. I completely get you.
Shit, I still want more. I'm sorry. Like
that's all good because it's like I didn't grow up reading comic books either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't allowed to read comic books. You know what I'm saying? That's a different.
Okay.
So I didn't read. I read nothing. You know what I'm saying? When I got a little bit older, that's when I was able to like pick up a comic book and actually finish the whole thing. Not have to read, like go to 7-Eleven and then like try to like sneak a read. You know what I mean? And that's how I had to get by. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, I knew I liked this stuff, but I was not allowed to read any of it.
Oh wow!
So I didn't grow up reading comics either. So I completely and totally like feel where you're coming from. Like all because it's a comic book movie doesn't mean you have to automatically want to see it. You automatically are gonna like it by default because you're a nerd. Like. No, it's not how it works. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do have to be somewhat interested, and even from the space of just being a person who likes good films. Period. You might not want to watch a film you're not interested in. It's 2 hours you can't get back, but it's like you feel obligated almost because it's part of this universe. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people kind of like give you flack or whatever because you haven't seen certain films. Like, you know. You know what I mean? Like to each his own. I used to be like the odd man out all the time. Like I don't like this when everybody else in the world likes it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't like it.
It sounds like you debating with folks after Batman v Superman came out.
Oh man. I don't like it. I don't know what I can do. I just don't like it.
And didn't an announcement come out that he changed it from being a little mini series, whatever, to like an actual 4 hour? Like he keeps changing his mind on if it's gonna be a couple of different, and now it's a 4 hour. And I'm sitting up here like, listen. I sat through Titanic. Okay, Titanic was 3.5 hours, and that was a love story, and they all died on the ship. Okay, listen. Yes, it was really a great film, but it's like, do we need a 4 hour remake? Like, do we need a 4 hour remake?
Listen, I'm going to say my piece about this really quick. I'm going to say my piece about this really quick, and I'm going to leave it at that, okay?
My man need to get redeemed. I'm just saying.
he can redeem himself all day. He can redeem himself all day, but this is just my take on it, and this is just how it seems, okay? Whatever the case may be, he took advantage of AT&T being the parent owner of Warner Brothers now, which I still can't believe that's a thing, but it is. So that actually shows you like where they stand on the totem pole as far as wealth. And the thing is, the stuff got buzz. AT&T, for whatever reason, is trying to flex their parent company muscles, and they superseded Warner Brothers to allow the Snyder cut to happen, and Zack proceeded to finesse Warner Brothers to get this made. That's how I feel about it. It's like, look, everybody deserves to have their vision told the way they intended. That's fine. Like, tell your story how you want to tell it, whatever the case may be. With that said, I am not looking forward to this movie at all.
It's a 4-hour tour.
That's cool. I'm gonna let you know how it is. We're gonna get the biggest bowl of popcorn. And on top, I mean, I don't look.
I can't, because Snyder is the king of doing too much.
That's
okay.
cool.
Like all this stuff. It's I don't know what this movie is gonna be. I don't know who is gonna show up. I don't know how any of this is going to make sense.
That's the point. That is
like,
the
I'm here for it though. Yeah, okay, so wait a minute. So wait. So follow Marvel, hold on. Cassio, okay. Listen, as somebody who's probably the most hyped person for this movie is you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like seriously though, like a 4-hour remake? Like a 4-hour remake? Like
but hold up, because I mean when you say remake, you kind of
I'm sorry, not remake.
No, it's a remake. It's a remake. This is not going to be the same movie at all.
It's the director's cut. It's the director's cut. It's like they went back and they recut freaking Blade Runner. You know what I'm saying? Multiple times.
I guess when I said I think remake, I guess in my brain it's because
a good portion of that movie was new footage,
and they kind of changed a lot of things in it and reshot things. So I guess that's why my brain is thinking. Remake,
you're right, because a good portion of this movie is new footage. Like, a lot of the stuff is new footage.
So I mean, if you want to call it an
good shit for me, because
so I mean, do you think like 4 hours though? Like, do we really need 4 hours though?
Listen, I get you and I hear you, but all I can say is this: look, I feel like this is the reason why I feel like we were robbed, straight up. If you like, I feel like we were robbed. We were robbed from the experience of actually having a good Justice League film. We were robbed of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still put it down. Like, Rob Snyder had a tragedy in his family. I really think that people should be a little bit more like, I don't know, just like give him some space. You know what I'm saying? I'm not downing anybody on this panel. I'm just telling you how I feel overall. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I'm like, yes, do the Snyder cut. You know what I mean? I find Zack Snyder to be a good filmmaker. Me personally, I love 300. I had to watch that film how many times? I love 300. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the period of time that I spent making films myself, when you have a vision, and then the powers that be, whatever the universe, whoever you want. When it intervenes and it messes up that vision, it's almost devastating for a filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? You look at Justice League and the budget that it had. It had a budget of $500 million. $500 million. Billion. It had $500 million budget. The largest budget of any superhero movie. Was it any movie ever created?
It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Highest budget of any superhero movie ever created. You know what I'm saying? You got Batman, you got Wonder Woman, you have Superman. I mean, these are some of America's first superheroes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? These are like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I came with the 1920s is when it was when Superman came from Action Comics. Mm-hmm. And it's like these are like some of America's like oldest superheroes. And I think we were robbed. We did not get a proper Justice League film. That's how I feel. I feel like we were robbed. We didn't get a good film because I feel like too many folks stepped in and didn't let for one man's vision to come to fruition. And that's why the movie's all over the place, because there's too many hands in the cookie jar. If I feel like if we allow for
there's truth to that.
Yeah, so I feel like if we allow for Zack Snyder to do his director's cut, get his vision, because this is more than likely a passion project for him. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about the money.
Or a fuck you to Warner Brothers. One or the other.
I don't know. Either way,
Oh, go ahead, Cassio.
I was going to say, like, either way, I appreciate the fact that Zack Snyder is revisiting that disaster movie, because I watched it and I was like, this ain't even real. This ain't even real.
It ain't it. It ain't it.
This ain't the real. This ain't even the real one, man. I get the real Justice League.
But 4 hours, like 4 hours.
Yeah, I get you. We can pause it whatever we want to. I understand what you're talking about. I understand.
But this is what's going to be rough though, because of the type of storyteller.
And watch the other 2 hours whenever.
Dude, this is the thing with Zack Snyder, dude. Like, as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, the thing is, if you're going to make a movie that's going to be an epic length, such as this, you have to find a way to not let it feel that way. Okay, I watched the original cut of The Watchmen. Okay, that movie was long at 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Raising my hand, I didn't like to watch the movie either.
Then you had the extended cut, which was a half an hour longer. Then after that, now there's an ultimate cut out there that's another half an hour long. So you have a 3.5 hour version of this movie out there. And I'm like, dude, this movie didn't have to be that long. This movie does not have to be 3.5 hours long. What are you doing?
I feel.
And he feels like you can pause it and go back.
It's like, look, you say that we were robbed of a good Justice League film. I don't disagree with you there.
I agree too.
We were also robbed of a proper Man of Steel sequel as well.
Yes.
You should have got that before
the standalone Batman film with Ben Affleck. Like, why in the hell would you have Ben Affleck sitting up there in a Justice League movie? He ain't had his own movie yet. Like, really?
Exactly.
Exactly. I don't know. Like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, is that we didn't get a proper Man of Steel sequel. Okay,
and we still ain't got one. I'm hoping we do. So I'll say this: I'm hoping that whatever it is in this full damn hour cut, okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna wait until Cassio watches. Tiffany. I need like Paul and Marvel to watch it.
Tiffany.
You're excited, super excited about the movie.
What's going on?
But Paul and Marvel's like, listen, I could take it or leave it. So I might have to wait till Paul and Marvel watches it and lets me know what he thinks without spoiling. Because you gonna make me watch the movie, and I didn't have a plan to watch it only because. And you guys already know this because we done talked about it, at length. But it's like, I only want to watch it if Wonder Woman is better in the movie. If she's not less nerfed, I don't want to see it. Like, I'm
gonna let you know what it is. I ain't gonna spoil it.
So unless she's unnerfed, I have no desire to watch this movie because and 4 hour cut means I gotta look at Ezra's damn face for 4 hours. I don't want to look at him. Wow. I hate him. I can't stand him.
See, that's why I say this, Tiffany.
Lesbos mug on my screen for 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? So I hope it's as good as you hope it's gonna be, Captain.
I hope so too.
I hope it's as good as I hope it's gonna be.
As someone who doesn't want to watch it, I hope so as well. Because it's a slew of reasons, but the thing is, I just want to go back to something you said, Tiffany. Now, you said that we could still technically get a Man of Steel sequel.
Yeah,
that's true. But they had DC Fandom to announce that, and they announced everything except the Man of Steel sequel. Okay, so
I was thinking. The reason I said that is I was thinking if they have more Superman in the movie, which I believe they do, because I think Henry Cavill talked about how he had to, put on the suit and do more scenes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that if the movie is way better, maybe it could lead. Like maybe they're trying to get the reaction of this expansion.
I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt it because of this. This is why I doubt it. Is because of everything that kind of transpired the past year with who.
Oh.
And the fact that you have two people, you have basically two people that's in charge on the Warner Brothers, not Warner Media, because that's a different section, but two people that's ahead of Warner Brothers and DC who didn't even want this. Like, this wasn't even on their radar. They were trying to move away from this, but AT&T kind of drugged them back into it. So I think Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada, they didn't want this cut. At this point, like, it's essentially out there. They did not want this cut to happen because of the simple fact that they knew where it led and it didn't produce like they wanted to do. So it's like, okay, we're just going to just move on to some standalone stuff, which kind of more or less has been successful for them so far. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like, I mean, look, if y'all been following along with all the Warner Brothers drama the past year, more, you know why more than likely Zach will not be back at Warner Brothers after this.
That's fine.
Well, like I said, you know, I hope it does what you want it to do, Cassio. I really do hope it is great. What I want to do. Because again, it's a 4-hour tour. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting up here and I'm like, like I said, if I watch it, it'll have to be because you super sold me on.
I'm gonna let y'all know if this thing is a waste of time. I'm gonna be like, nope, it was a whole booty sandwich. So don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time. I just want you to know that. I'm gonna let y'all know what it is.